There's so much water around here today. You'd be mistaken to a buzzard flying over. Well, the weather's still typical winter's weather here. I did wonder actually when I came out that it probably wouldn't get any sunlight, but I think now is just the opportunity really just to try and get some really wonderful winter landscapes, particularly with this grey mist and fog, and try and use that to my advantage really. And the muted colours sometimes work quite well when you do landscapes that's got lots of layers in the background. So if you can find some trees with some hills and possibly trees further in the background, you can start to pick out some of those long vistas and those layers in the mists, particularly when you use a long lens. A long lens helps to do that, flattens the image and accentuates those layers in the landscape. A good idea when you're struggling to find a really nice image, particularly when it's a grey overcast day like today and there's very little or no sunlight. One thing I like to try and do, and it works as well for any kind of landscape photograph, but in particular on a day like this, one thing I'd like to do is try and find something in the foreground as well as a view in the background. So if you can find a really nice foreground interest, it helps in the composition, lead the eye into the main image, and also gives a bit more interest in the photograph too. So I just walk next to this small pond, and what's nice about the pond is that it's very still and there's quite a bit of ice on the water, so it's reflecting the trees in the background really quite well. But what's extra special is that there's the reed beds right in the foreground. So I've got the camera really low on the tripod, and using on a wide angle lens, I'm going to use those reeds as a bit of foreground interest, which will help hopefully to frame the image and lead the eye into the focal point down the end of the pond with the trees and the reflection in the water. There's a lot of fallen trees just behind me that have been swamped by low water because it's so damp around here, and in the midst of winter quite a lot of the trees and the bark has got lovely green moss covering the entire bark of the trees. It's ever so damp, you can probably tell. So I thought what I'd do is actually set the camera up and just see if I could probably get a really nice landscape picture of these fallen trees and dead branches all lying around. And the nice thing about all that green moss, it will add a really nice vibrant zing to the colours in the pictures once we put it into post-processing. So let's get the camera on the tripod and we can see what we're going to get.